Namaskar to all.
Namaskar.
We are also doing live streaming. This entire program is live on our Facebook, Indian Cultural Center, ICCR in Republic of Korea. So I request all the participants to share our page on your timeline. Welcome, Shobna ji. We will just begin the program in just 2 minutes. We are waiting for the ambassador to join. Shobna ji, we will begin in a while. Ambassador is in a meeting. Meanwhile, it's really nice to have you here. And we are also doing the live streaming and recording. We will share the recorded video later with all the participants. We will upload on our YouTube channel. We are just doing this preliminary.
Meanwhile, shall I start? And then when the ambassador comes, then she can speak and I'll stop.
She was supposed to join immediately, but since we are also doing this live, maybe we thought we will begin with the formalities. So,
sure.
Meanwhile, we can just talk about maybe because officially when we begin, I just wanted the ambassador and the other dignitaries also who are joining. We have the president of Asia Culture Institute also joining from Gwangju City.
Namaskar.
And welcome, Mr. Lee. And we also have the principal of the Gandhi School from Jechuan joining
Namaskar.
us here, Mr. Lee Byung-gon. So we thought before we officially begin, we should at least introduce these dignitaries. In fact, later on when Mr. Lee Byung-gon will give his remarks, he will introduce about his school also.
So I am very impressed with the Gandhi School, and hopefully we'll be in touch, and I would like to know more about your school. I would also like to welcome all the participants who have joined me and are waiting. And I would like to tell you, and this is my first Gandhi Katha after I have recovered by self-healing myself through the Gandhian way. I had tested positive for COVID on 22nd of June. And now I'm all right. And I'm very honored to be doing the first Gandhi Katha for ICC Seoul. And I'm grateful to the ambassador and Sonuji and all the people who are partnering and everyone who has joined us and waiting so patiently. I am very thankful to you for being here with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobna ji, for also agreeing to be a part of this Gandhi Katha event at ICC Seoul. Last year, we remember you had come here physically to give the lecture at Yonsei University. But this year, we are really grateful to you that you have agreed in spite of since you have just recovered from COVID and also your personal issues, you have agreed to be a part of our Gandhi Katha event. We are really grateful to you.
Can I play some music
Yeah.
also?
Let's begin, Ambassador. When she joins, we can stop and then ma'am can address.
Yes, yes. Should I start now?
No.
Or
Shobna ji, I will just briefly introduce and then I will hand it over to you.
Oh,
So since we have already spoken, let me officially welcome you all. I'm truly delighted to welcome you all from Seoul, South Korea at this narration of Gandhi Katha today by Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna, who is a globally renowned Gandhian. Today's event is a part of our continuing year-long celebrations commemorating the 150th birth anniversary of this great soul and his legacy worldwide. It is a personal pleasure and delight to welcome Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna today on this virtual platform. We look forward to your narration of Gandhi Katha on a topical and a truly relevant theme in these challenging times, which is crisis due to COVID-19 pandemic and the need to live in harmony with nature, the Gandhian way. It also gives me immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Lee Gi-pyo, President of Asia Culture Institute, Asia Culture Center at Guangzhou. They are also partnering with us in organizing this Gandhi Katha event. Let me tell you that ACC has been the center for promoting the Asian culture at Korea's cultural hub city, Guangzhou. And ACC is one of our treasured partners in Republic of Korea. Since 2015, we have been introducing Indian dance, music, film, yoga to Guangzhou city with the cooperation of Asia Culture Center and Asia Culture Institute. From cultural performances to art exhibitions and other hands-on activities, today we are partnering with them in bringing Gandhi closer to the people of Guangzhou. We also have with us present here today Mr. Lee Byung-gong, principal of Jecheon Gandhi School from Chungbuk province. This Gandhi school is famous for devising alternative ways of learning and conducts education according to a student's aptitude. It has adopted innovative special education and pedagogy that embraces children from middle to high school level. The school follows Gandhian philosophy to respect creativity, personality, and solidarity with local community and global networks. With these words, let me call upon our ambassador, Her Excellency Sri Priya Ranganathan, to give her welcome remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
namaskar.
Namaskar, good afternoon. Annyeonghaseyo Shimnika. Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna, Chief Functionary of the Gandhian Forum for Ethical Corporate Governance. Mr. Lee Gi-pyo, the President of the Asia Culture Institute of the Asia Culture Center in Guangzhou. Mr. Lee Byung-gong, the Principal of the Jecheon Gandhi School. All other friends from Korea and India who are joining us this afternoon. Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm so pleased to welcome you to this virtual Gandhi Katha event by the well-known Gandhian, Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna, who is recognized for her invaluable contributions to literature, social service, and her efforts to spread the message of the Mahatma. Dr. Shobhana is also someone I have known for a very long time. I recall very fondly the first time that we met Shobhana ji, which was in Bangkok many years ago. And I think we've been continuing our conversation and our dialogue ever since. Over the past 2 years at the embassy and at the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, we have organized a series of events as part of our efforts to celebrate the 150th birth anniversary of our beloved Mahatma. We have co-organized 10 Gandhi lecture series in partnership with the Institute of Indian Studies of HOOPS. And these have been done in various parts of various cities of Korea, in Seoul, in Busan, in Cheongju, in Chuncheon, in Jeju-do, etc. And our aim has been the same, to remind people of the continuing relevance of Gandhiji's thoughts and his philosophy, even in the world that we live in today. We co-organized an international symposium on Gandhiji's 150-year legacies in association with Yonsei University and George Mason University. Shobna ji herself came to Seoul to deliver a special lecture on Mahatma Gandhi's changing leadership and its connection to contemporary society at the Yonsei University Leadership Center last year. In other activities, we have organized painting competitions. We have worked with the Sodemun district to create the Korea-India Peace Park within the historic Independence Park in Seoul, where we planted 150 plants to honor in a small way the Mahatma, and to highlight the kind of effort and the kind of dedication Gandhiji had towards a sustainable way of life. We also worked in partnership with the mayor of Gimhae to place a statue of Mahatma Gandhi at Yonji Park in Gimhae. And this is again for the benefit of the people of Gimhae and to remind them of the enduring relevance of his message and his thoughts. Today's event is yet another part of the series of events to honor the Mahatma's legacy. Shobna ji's chosen theme of crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to live in harmony with nature the Gandhian way is very, very relevant and pertinent to the challenging times we are living through today. I hope that we will all get some new thoughts on how to deal with this situation physically, mentally, spiritually during and after this pandemic. I'm also sure that today's narration of the Gandhi Katha will help us in our efforts to connect the hearts and the minds of the people of India and the people of Korea. I wish us all a very, very enlightening and interesting session. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the welcome remarks. May I now request Mr. Lee Gi-pyo, President of Asia Culture Institute, ACC Gwangju, to give his remarks and share with us about the activities of ACI briefly.
네, 인사말 전해주시면
나마스테. 아시아문화원장 이기표입니다. 오늘 온라인을 통해서 이 간디 이야기 강연을 우리 아시아문화원과 함께해서 대단히 감사드립니다. 오늘 행사에 참여해 주신 분들께 다시 한번 감사드리고 특히 주한 인도 대사관 대사님 그리고 문화원장님께 다시 한번 감사드립니다. 나마스테.
Greetings, this is Gi-pyo Lee, the president of Asia Culture Institute. On behalf of Asia Culture Institute, I'd like to welcome everyone participating in today's event. Especially, I'd like to thank Your Excellency, Ambassador Ranganathan and Director Trivedi for giving us the chance to take part in this event. And thank you, Dr. Shobana, for providing us a very special lecture. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Mr. Lee Byung-gon, Principal of Jecheon Gandhi School, to give us his remarks and share with us what this entire Gandhi School is all about. Over to you, Mr. Lee.
Hello, I'm a head teacher of the Jecheon Gandhi School in Chungbuk Province in Central Korea. I feel highly honored to be invited to this meaningful online conference. My school was founded in 1997 by Mr. Hee Chang-yang, who was one of the admirers of Gandhiji. Mr. Yang would like to follow Gandhiji's thoughts and practices through alternative educational institutions. Gandhiji's idea of non-violent resistance still has a great meaning to our society because currently our next generation have been suffering from too much competition, living in weakened local communities, and being surrounded by anti-humanistic conditions. Jecheon Gandhi School have excellent opportunities to be learned from Indian Cultural Center in Seoul. My 17 students, they were all 17 years old in 2018, visited the Indian Cultural Center to learn about Gandhiji and Indian culture, which was leading them to the further studies, and they made 6 weeks visiting India project in 2019, last year. They had stayed Varanasi Ashram for a week, followed Gandhiji's Salt March trail, even though it was just a day. This project this year, unfortunately, has been hindered by the COVID-19, but I do hope we could do this again if things are getting better someday. The friendship between the two different cultures should be kept in tight. I hope there will be more chance to learn from Gandhiji. Please pay more attention to us to make the world a better place through education. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your remarks. And it is really great to know about the kind of work you are doing here and how you are following the philosophy of Gandhiji at this school. We now move over to Dr. Shobhana ji. Let us begin with the narration of Gandhi Katha. But before that, let me briefly introduce Shobhana ji. Shobhana ji, it is an honor for us to have you virtually here with us. And as we have already spoken that she was here last year in Seoul when she delivered a special lecture on Mahatma Gandhi's changing leadership and its connection to contemporary society at Yonsei University Leadership Center, which was attended by over 400 students, followed by another lecture at Busan. Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna is a globally renowned Gandhian thinker and an activist. She is on a mission to reintroduce Mahatma Gandhi to the people of India and abroad, imbibing Gandhi's values as she grew up in his ashram situated at Sevagram in Wardha. Shobhana ji's focal point is the Gandhian way of life and serving humanity. Currently, she is the chief functionary of the SCOPE Gandhian Forum for Ethical Corporate Governance, formed under the aegis of Standing Conference of Public Enterprises for Promoting Ethical Business Practices and Organizational Integrity in Public Sector Enterprises, and have given over 300 talks in major public sector undertakings in India. She has regularly addressed young probationary officers of the Indian Civil Services in the Apex Training Academics of Government of India. With over 4 decades of experience in social work in development projects in different parts of India, her background of Gandhian constructive work for the development and welfare of underprivileged communities is really commendable. She has traveled internationally to give lectures on the occasion of the UN International Day of Non-Violence. As a part of 150th birth anniversary celebration of Mahatma Gandhi, she has delivered lectures and Gandhi Katha in over 32 countries with support from respective Indian missions and Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Her Gandhi Katha and the lectures on Mahatma Gandhi's vision and its relevance attempt to provide some principles, ideas, and alternatives that can help us in our quest for more significant substance, and also help address pressing social, communal, and ecological challenges of our times. With these words, I now request Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna to take over. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. Welcome to the Gandhi Katha, narrated by me during the commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. I am grateful to Ambassador Srimati Supriya Ranganathan ji, Dr. Sonu Trivedi ji, Director SVCC Seoul, and for the partners, the Asia Cultural Center, Gwangju, and the Gandhi School to be present and support this event amidst the challenging times of the COVID-19 pandemic on the existential crisis due to coronavirus COVID-19 and the need to live together in peace in the Gandhian way. Gandhi Katha is based on the ancient Indian oral tradition of Katha or storytelling with bhajans and hymns. In today's Gandhi Katha, Srimati Swati Bhagat and Shri Deepak Kalra will be singing the bhajans and hymns. The technical support and the PowerPoint presentation are by Dr. Ravi Chopra. The lyrics of the Gandhi Katha Dhun have been composed by late Sri Narayan Desai ji. And I'm very grateful to all of them. Mahatma Gandhi had said that the key to good health is prayer, nature cure, nutritious food, clean water, fresh air, and physical and mental exercise, amongst many other things. In short, during and after the pandemic, we need to invest heavily in preventive measures for self care and to nurture the not so sick. The lesson the pandemic is teaching us is simple. When one member of the family falls sick, the entire family is affected, and soon the community is affected, the nation is affected, and then other communities in other nations also get affected. The well being of one individual has an impact on people on the other side of the globe. This is true for every action of ours. What we eat, what we buy, what we think, and what we do has reverberations and repercussions on all life on earth. It is this anubandha, this interconnectedness that sustains all life on earth. We are all in this together as one human family. Whether we choose to see it or not, this is the fact. The current coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is a wake up call for every country, big or small, rich or poor, developed or developing. It has opened our eyes to the fragility of the existence of humans. We need to learn from all of you in South Korea who have contained the pandemic so very efficiently. Last year, I visited 33 countries and gave 148 talks and Gandhi Katha. I was in Seoul from 22nd to 26th May 2019, and the Embassy of India organized 2 talks at Yonsei University and Pyeongchang National University in Busan, which were very well received. I made some wonderful new friends. India-South Korea relations have a history of 2000 years, and it was a wonderful chance to reconnect with our brothers and sisters from South Korea. I convey my warm wishes to the people of South Korea who have joined today. We stand in solidarity with you in all our common fight against COVID-19 pandemic. I know that in South Korea, Gandhiji's influence is profound wherever people are struggling for deliverance from justice and oppression. During the Park dictatorship in 77, the Korean Gandhi, Ham Seon-hyun, was the leader of the underground workshops. He was a notable figure in the Religious Society of Friends, that is Quaker movement in Korea, and an important Asian voice for human rights and non-violence during the 20th century, despite numerous imprisonments for his convictions. He was a Quaker who concluded that all religions are on a common ground in terms of human beings, a view shared by many Quakers and by Mahatma Gandhi as well. He had said, I am a man who has been kicked by God, just as a boy kicks a ball in the direction he wants it to go. I have been driven and led by him. Such sentiments were also expressed by Gandhiji when he said that he was nothing but an instrument in God's hands and had to go wherever he led him. Hence, we can see that there are many similarities between Gandhiji and the Korean Gandhi, Ham Seon-hyun. According to my understanding, Mahatma Gandhi's life was an epic of faith and endeavor. His faith was in truth, the ultimate reality of truth, and he endeavored to attain it through non-violence throughout his life till the very last breath. Gandhiji's adherence to truth, non-violence, and purity of means has inspired me to give Gandhi Katha so that people could put their hearts into understanding Gandhiji and get inspired to learn from his ethical and moral leadership, spiritual life, revolutionary thoughts, action, and his lifelong service to humanity against all forms of injustice. Gandhiji used to remain positive under all circumstances, and that was his main trait. He had faced many challenges in his life, and I think as the world is reeling under the impact of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and everyone is affected, it is important to face the challenge humbly, with reverence to the virus, with gratitude and surrender to the divine forces which are beyond our control, fearlessly, intelligently, and with a positive outlook towards life. The more positive we, the ordinary people, will remain, the sooner we'll be able to take this situation in an auspicious direction. For Gandhiji, this was his way of life. Perhaps the greatest source of strength for Mahatma Gandhi was in his faith in God. Truth was the deepest and the most complete form of God. The faith gave him the constant awareness that he was to be nothing but an instrument in his hands. He was to go wherever he was led. For him, the guidance of God constituted two things. One, he had to walk on the path enlightened by truth that was available to him in whatever measures and form. Two, he had to constantly gaze inwards and find inspiration through self-introspection, self-examination, and self-purification. This he did by repeated questioning, and that question has been asked in our Indian civilization for the past 5,000 years. And the question is, Ko aham? Who am I? What am I? And what is the purpose of my life? The answer came to Gandhiji that the purpose of life undoubtedly is to know oneself, or self-realization. We cannot do it unless we learn to identify ourselves with all that lives. The sum total of that life is God. Hence, the necessity of realizing God living within every one of us. The instrument of this knowledge is boundless, selfless service, or in other words, the purpose of life is to serve others. The deeper the faith, the greater was the endeavor for Mahatma Gandhi. He said, truth is God. Satya hi Parameshwar hai. Faith in truth led Mahatma Gandhi to two other realizations. If God is omnipresent, then truth is omnipresent too. If each human being were an aspect of God, then each person is capable of being good, being truthful, and doing good to others. Therefore, his endeavor throughout his life was devoted to the search of that element of truth, to awaken it and to nurture it. This is why he could feel oneness with everyone. For most of us, this realization does not come easily. Because of this understanding of oneness, Gandhiji had no enemies. He did not want to settle scores with anyone, and he did not want to take any revenge. He merely wanted to extend his love, compassion, and respect to everyone. He respected individuals as individuals without attaching any labels. And that was one more trait that we see in Gandhiji. While giving this Gandhi Katha, I will be talking about many of his traits, which if we put it into practice, it will really transform us. Gandhiji used to begin and end his day with prayers. These were prayers from all the religions of the world. Gandhiji's internal code comprised of the essence of all the religions, one that he had acquired from long study and reflection. The devotional poetry of the saint poets that he had heard, sung, and absorbed since childhood made up a significant part of the life of his soul. The voice of the saints captured him, the essence of India's culture, in an idiom that was available to all persons. In the beginning, we played the favorite bhajan of Mahatma Gandhi, Vaishnava Janato. He believed that it described the characteristics of a Jnana Yogi philosophical mystic, karma yogi, active mystic, and bhakta, devotee, and the sthita prajna, the one whose understanding is secure, or the person of steadfast wisdom in the people's language. The essence of this was nourished by his devotional poetry. He searched these philosophies in the world's religion through his intellect, but absorbed the teachings through his heart. The bhajans and hymns came to him naturally without any effort, and he saw them also as a means of reaching out to people with his philosophy. He said that ultimately all the religions point to the same truth of compassion, love, and forgiveness, and that everyone must study the essence of all the religions in an attitude of perfect reverence and have friendship and respect for the practitioners of different religions and diverse cultures. All of Gandhiji's friends were from different religions and cultural background from around the world. Therefore, we will also begin today's Gandhi Katha with the Christian hymn, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, that used to be sung in the morning and evening prayers in all his ashrams. This is a prayer for well-being, for the healing, for becoming holy, and for safety and health of humanity during these challenging times of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, when the humanity is reeling under the existential crisis. So, during all Gandhiji's this particular psalm or hymn was played during all Gandhiji's fasts, and he undertook 31 times the fast for social cause. And for each of the fasts, he used to ask Meera Bahan, his English disciple, Magdalene Slade, to recite this psalm. Mahatma Gandhi's message to the world on the vital question of health and well-being is very important. To him, the study of this question was part of the service to God and his creation, which was his mission. Knowing to care summed up his life. His message was simple and not difficult to follow. It encouraged every Indian or everyone to respect simplicity, voluntary self-control, reduction of wants, follow the Indian traditions, cultural practice, and the values taught by the Indian ancestors through yoga, Ayurveda, and for living in harmony with nature. His attire represented his message to lead a simple life of voluntary poverty. His teachings included instructions on manner of dress, personal health, hygiene habits, a vegetarian diet, values, and for making choices that reflect the nation's true spirit. In these times of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which has engulfed the entire world, and as all of us are reeling under its impact in every corner of the world, it is time to learn from Gandhiji, who had said, "My life is my message. The first 18 years of Gandhiji's life were spent in India, where the seeds of spirituality were sown. In his 3 years of student days in London, his vision and knowledge expanded as he read the works of the great Western philosophers and poets and met many thinkers and reformers during his Vegetarian Society days. He became a barrister in London, but also learnt the lessons of citizenship. Gandhiji did his sadhana or penance in South Africa from 1893 to 1914, where he spent close to 20 years of his life. His life was transformed after the incident at the Pietermaritzburg station from that of an individual barrister Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi to a societal Gandhi Bhai or Brother Gandhi. And he gave the world a novel way of fighting injustice called Satyagraha, which is one of his first legacies to the world, to humanity. Satyagraha is using truth force, love force, and soul force to establish justice through self-suffering and sacrifice to melt the hardest of the hard hearts of the adversaries through non-violence. In 1904, in South Africa, after reading John Ruskin's book Unto This Last, Barrister Mohandas Gandhi transformed his life and started leading a community life of self-control, voluntary poverty, bread labor, and sarvodaya, or welfare of all. It was his actualization of his vision of a non-violent, face-to-face society. He established 4 ashrams in his lifetime, 2 in South Africa called Phoenix Settlement in 1904 and Tolstoy Farm in 1910, and 2 ashrams in India. He stayed in one more ashram for a short time, but the main ashram, some of you must have visited the Sabarmati ashram during your Dandi march, and this is in Gujarat, which Gandhiji has established on 17th June 1917, and the Sevagram ashram, where Kasturba Gandhi and Mahatma Gandhi lived in poverty like the common villagers of India from 1936 onwards. This was his ideal of a non-violent face-to-face society for Sarvodaya through constructive programs, which is his second gift to humanity. Constructive programs were to prepare India from bottom upwards to participate in the freedom struggle and to establish justice, self-respect, and dignity. I am very happy to inform you that I was born in Sevagram Ashram, and my father was inspired by Gandhiji since his childhood and joined the non-violent freedom struggle in India. He joined the ashram. Both my parents lived in the ashram, and that's where I was born. Even after Gandhiji passed away in 1948, for more than 5 decades, my parents and all of us have continued to walk on the path that Gandhiji has shown to humanity. It is not only for our family, it is open for the entire humanity. So what I'm telling you is based on what my father had told me, my own experience and understanding of Mahatma Gandhi, who has inspired a generation of people who have followed his path and continue to do so even till today. Ashram life was a life of strict routine from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. It was a simple life of voluntary self-control, punctuality, discipline, promptness, minimalistic living in harmony with nature, following the environmental credo of Gandhiji of minimum use of resources, recycling, reusing, and reducing, treating oneself through nature cure, having simple vegetarian diet, caring and sharing, being ever vigilant, walking, and daily morning and evening prayers, including daily practices of cleaning, sanitation, and hygiene, spinning and weaving, bread labor, disciplined life, constructive programs, and using every minute of time in the service of humanity. The time is the only non-renewable resource that all of us have, if we are lucky. And we must use time very carefully, like Gandhiji did. He is the role model of punctuality. And this is something all of us need to learn from him. That was his trait. He was a very, very punctual, disciplined, and prompt person. Gandhiji's unique practices of silence, prayers, fasting, and spinning gave him the internal strength. He carried out his experiments in health and well-being through nature cure, diet control, hydrotherapy, sun bath, mud packs, and observing silence for one whole day. The ashram inmates not only participated, but modified and validated them and still continue to practice till this day, points to their relevance. And I continue to practice these too. Gandhiji has given 3 gifts to humanity. And I have talked about the first one, which is Satyagraha. And a lot of people know about Satyagraha, but not all the aspects of it. Second is the constructive programs, about which very few people know. And the last one, the Ekadasha Vrata, or the 11 observances, which is for voluntary self-control, a life of Sanyam, and a moral and ethical life, which were a set of rules for the ashram inmates to lead a life of voluntary self-control. In the ashram prayers, in the morning and evening, the first verse from Ishopanishad, the Jagatyan Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Ma Gridha Kasya Swidhanam, that everything in this universe belongs to God. Nothing belongs to you. Enjoy the objects of the world in an attitude of perfect non-attachment. Enjoy it with a feeling of sacrifice to the extent that is necessary for you, and leave the rest for others in the society. Never ever crave the possession of others. Nothing really belongs to you. Now we will sing a Gandhi Katha Dhun describing the same sentiments in Hindi, which is Na yah tera, na yah mera, Ishwar ka yah Raj hai. Very few people know that as a couple, Mahatma Gandhi and Kasturba Gandhi contributed immensely 123 years ago to public health emergencies and service of humanity. Gandhiji wanted to become a doctor from a very young age. His inner calling, or Swadharma, according to the Indian sacred scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, was to serve others. Gandhiji dedicated his life to serving the entire humanity. It started by serving his father in his childhood. In 1896, Barrister Mohandas Gandhi took training in nursing in Cottage Hospital in South Africa and volunteered in taking care of patients. In 1897, he nursed and cared for leprosy patients at home and set up a hospital in Durban with the help of Parsi Rustamji, his friend. During the Second Anglo-Boer War from 1899 to 1902 and in the Zulu uprising of 1906, he set up the Indian Natal Ambulance Corps and served as a stretcher bearer along with the Indian indentured labor and free Indians. In 1904, in the bubonic plague outbreak in Johannesburg, he and Kasturba Gandhi not only rushed to help the patients, quarantined them in an empty godown, and treated them through nature cure. Gandhiji and Kasturba Gandhi, along with their family members, some of them, of course, stayed back in Phoenix settlement, returned to India in 1915 at the age of 45. And I must tell you, this is the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, but it also happens to be the 150th birth anniversary of Kasturba Gandhi, who was 6 months older than him. So we, the Gandhi Jan, are celebrating it as Bapu 150 because the contribution Kasturba Gandhi has made to making Mohan into the Mahatma and for as being the first Satyagrahi, first Indian woman Satyagrahi is outstanding. So during this outbreak of Spanish influenza pandemic in 1918, Gandhiji and Kasturba opened up the Sabarmati Ashram as the quarantine center, treated and served patients through nature cure, and provided them with a simple diet to boost immunity and maintain physical distancing. Both the couple took care of the families, their physical, mental, and spiritual needs, and gave them accurate information for maintaining social distancing, being positive, and taking care of each other during the most deadliest pandemic, Spanish flu pandemic of the last century. On 10th November, Gandhiji had said in 1918 that our ancestors could build such tough bodies in the past, but today we are reduced to a state of miserable weakness and are easily infected by noxious germs moving about in the air. There is one and only one really effective way by which we can save ourselves from them, even in our present broken state of health. And that way is of self-restraint or sanyam and of imposing a limit to our acts, desires, and wants. Gandhiji used to call himself the commander-in-chief of the non-violent army and always used to be the first one as the frontline worker in all the potentially dangerous situations. And same about Kasturba Gandhi. This was one of his traits. Another trait was that he used to treat all work as God-given work and used to work with the attitude of yajna or sacrifice. Now I will play a dhun which will talk about their quest for truth and non-violence and satyagraha, which is Lagi Re Lagan, Satya Ahimsa mein man mera magan.
Lagi re lagan, lagi re lagan, Satya Ahimsa mein man mera magan, Satya Ahimsa mein man mera magan. Lagi re lagan, Satya Ahimsa mein man mera magan, Satya Ahimsa mein man mera magan. Ahimsa se satyagraha seekha, Satya ahimsa se satyagraha seekha, sarva prakar ke bhay ka mochan, sarva prakar ke bhay ka mochan, Satya ahimsa mein man mera magan, lagi re lagan, lagi re lagan, Satya ahimsa mein man mera magan, Satya ahimsa mein man mera magan.
Gandhiji was very interested in health and wellness and remained ever vigilant about his own health as well as of others. He said that our lifestyle should be such that it should not let any disease come anywhere near us. And every person is responsible for looking after his or her own body, mind, and spirit impeccably. Gandhiji extended his inner calling of serving others to living a healthy and moral life in harmony with nature to with, with nature cure, and maintained that health and well-being or wellness means one should keep the body healthy without any disease and must carry on the day's routine without getting tired. Gandhiji said that to have perfect understanding of our bodies, everyone must understand that our body is made up of the 5 elements that are found in nature, and that has been told by our ancestors, seers, and sages since the past many centuries. And these 5 elements are air, water, fire, earth, and space. For the wellness of our bodies, the balance and harmony between all these 5 elements is very necessary. Our ancient Indian scriptures also teach us, Mana evam manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoh bandhaya vishaya saktam muktam nirvishayo smrutah. For man, the mind is the cause of bondage and the mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and the mind detached from the sense objects is the cause of liberation. And this is according to the Amrit Bindu Upanishad, and this is verse 2, which is part of the 5 Amrit Bindu Upanishads from Atharva Veda, which has given us the system of Ayurveda. For Gandhiji, the outside universe was but a reflection of the inside universe. He repeated time and again that the universe is compressed in the atom. There is not one law for the atom and another for the universe. It is not just the eye of the poet that enabled him to see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in wild flowers. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. But an actual spiritual experience that gave the conviction that the moral principles have no meaning unless they can be made to serve as the guide of conduct in the daily affairs of an individual. The first element is air, which is all pervasive and surrounds us totally. We cannot live without air and will suffocate, and that's what will happen. Gandhiji said that people do not know how to breathe properly, and therefore they should be taught breathing exercises and pranayam, and they must learn to keep the respiratory tracts clean, must sleep in the open air as much as possible, and keep the homes well ventilated. The Sanskrit proverb tells us, Yatha pinde tatha brahmande. You are the universe within the universe. As with the self, so is the universe. What is going on within you is same as what is going on in the universe. From the body-mind perspective, Gandhiji's standpoint was that health is an optimal integration of body, mind, spirit, soul, and environment. Environment is an extended body of self. During the COVID-19 pandemic, enveloping ourselves in the rhythm and forms of nature can be transformative and healing. Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition of India, recommends spending time in nature every day. Doing so allows us to experience the wonderment of this existence with all our senses. Nature allows us to shift our attention beyond the domain of our ego and to recognize that we are inextricably connected to the universe. There is a nice Vedic expression which says, as is the atom, so is the universe. As is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. As is the universal body, so is the cosmic body. As is the universal mind, so is the cosmic mind. Yoga and meditation integrates all components of health, and Gandhiji was a strong believer in nature cure, the Ayurveda, and all the Ashtangas of yoga. His experiments with nature cure were always on himself. He also advised his friends and disciples to follow these remedies and treated and cured more than 30,000 patients through nature cure. Gandhiji had immense faith in prayer, meditation, Ramanama, and nature cure, Swadeshi, Swachhata, Seva, and Sarvodaya, and spoke from his personal experience. He often quoted a Tamil saying that always remained in his memory, and it means God is the help of the helpless. Describing the essence of all the prayers in January 23rd, 1930, he had said to seek first the kingdom of heaven and everything will be added unto you. And this was the ashram life. And for the benefit of the readers of the Indian opinion in South Africa, in or around 1906, Gandhiji wrote a few articles under the heading Guide to Health. He was constantly experimenting with his health and diet through nature cure. Since his student days in London, he always said that one should eat not in order to please the palate, but just to keep the body going. When each organ of the sense subserves the body, and through the body, the soul, its special relish disappears. And then alone does it begin in the way nature intended it to. In his speech in Ahmedabad on 1st January 1918, when the whole world was struggling with the Spanish influenza pandemic, he had stressed on the importance of pure air, water, and food for keeping healthy. Gandhiji had clear ideas about the importance of pure air, water, and food almost 101 years ago from today. When Gandhiji was imprisoned in Aga Khan Palace in 1942 during the Quit India movement that he was leading, he wrote the book Key to Health. On 27th August 1942, Gandhiji wrote in the preface that the book was translated into several Indian languages. An English translation also appeared. This reached the West and was translated in several European languages. The result was that the book became the most popular of all his writings. I have never been able to understand the reason for this popularity, Gandhiji said. I had written those articles casually because I was experimenting on them, and I did not attach much importance to them. But perhaps the reason for popularity is to be sought in the fact that I have looked upon the problem of health from a novel point of view, somewhat different from the orthodox methods adopted by doctors and Vaidyas. He said, I'm giving it a new name. It's called Key to Health. Anyone who observes the rule of health mentioned in this book will find that he has got in it a real key to unlock the gates leading him to health. He will not need to knock at the doors of doctors or traditional health practitioners from day to day. Coronavirus COVID-19 is the global pandemic of our times, but Spanish flu remains the deadliest in modern history, killing at least 50 million people and infecting more than 500 million. The 1918 H1N1 virus played a critical role in altering the course of India's history. Just like in the case of coronavirus COVID-19 in 2020, there was no known medicine available to treat Spanish flu either. The world of medical science was in a nascent stage back then. Developing a vaccine against Spanish flu was out of question. The first flu vaccine came on the scene only in 1940. The first antibiotic medicine came in 1928, years after Spanish flu had ravaged the human population. It was physical distancing, wearing masks, and remaining in quarantine that saved the world, particularly the developed one. Back then, and that is what Gandhiji also advised people to do. And this is precisely what we need to learn from Gandhiji during the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which has come in a very different mutation, which is capable of making people infect each other in a dimension not known before to humanity. And transmission of the virus is through human-to-human contact. In the COVID-19 crisis, people are discovering just how much control they have over their thoughts, which is very little. In a crisis, fear and anxiety start to roam the mind, and struggling against them does only a little good, which is temporary at the best. This is why so many people turn to denial and distraction. They try to deny their fearful thoughts and turn to distractions to escape them through all kinds of other interests. But there is a better way. When a crisis makes you feel stressed, meditation and prayer relieves the stress response. Fear and anxiety are forms of stress that become exaggerated when events become uncertain, when you feel a loss of control over the situation, and when the stress keeps repeating itself without let up. The thinking mind reacts to all of those conditions. It always has, even in normal times. But a crisis brings stress into high relief, making it very capable of lowering the immune system of our body and setting in inflammation in the body. Gandhiji was the first environmentalist, and with his stunning premonition and knowledge, had declared that the earth has enough for man's needs, but not for man's greed. Greed will be the main reason for the environmental degradation and all kinds of pandemics and the ecological crisis he had predicted almost a century ago. Further, he had said, the earth, the air, the land, and the water are not an inheritance from our forefathers, but a loan from our children. So we have to hand it over to them as it was handed over to us. Last year on 2nd October, I was invited to deliver the keynote address at the United Nations Regional Office in Vienna and release the stamp brought out by the UN Postal Department with this same quote. Last month, I was diagnosed as COVID positive. I self-cured and healed myself following the healthy crux of Gandhiji's teachings by following a simple life, nature cure, early rising, leading a disciplined life, fasting, frugal vegetarian diet, that is immunity boosting Ayurvedic diet, observing silence, prayer, positive thinking, pranayam, ashtanga yoga, meditation, swavalamban or self-reliance, compassion, forgiveness, maintaining hygiene, cleanliness, and sanitation, and above all, respecting the coronavirus COVID-19 and surrendering to the forces of the universe. This is my first Gandhi Katha after I have self-cured myself. And I wanted to talk about the Gandhian way of self-healing that I have followed since my childhood in the Sevagram ashram, and which has worked very well even when I became COVID positive. And this is through the practice of the Ekadasha Vrata or the Ashtanga Yoga. The first two limbs are Yama and Niyama, which are rules for personal and social conduct. Gandhiji had introduced these as part of the Ekadasha Vrata or 11 observances in the ashrams. They are not moral injunctions from the place of self-righteousness and morality, but that is the way of life. The rules of personal and social conduct are direct result of our connection with the source of all existence, source of all experience, the source of all knowing, which is ultimately is pure consciousness. The self of the individual and the self of the universe are one and the same. The third limb is asana or yoga postures. Asana usually means steady seat. Yogasanas are actually the seats of awareness. Seats of awareness, including various postures, either sitting, standing, twist and lines, and various movements. In each of these, there is a particular localized awareness, which itself is non-local and infinite. So it means with each asana, we are taking in infinite awareness and localizing it onto a particular experience in the particular location of the body. If we practice yogasana with particular awareness and combine it with pranayama or breathing, then a lot of magic happens. Yogasana stimulates every branch of the vagus nerve. It is the healing of the nervous system, which is part of the sympathetic nervous system in the body. It is the nerves in our body, which is generally geared towards restoring homeostasis or healing. It comes from the midbrain and it influences the interaction with other nerves. For example, and this is why Gandhiji has said that knowing about body, about individual's body is very essential. So everybody must have knowledge about their bodies. For example, the nerve responsible for the movement of the eyes, the oculomotor nerve, the laryngeal nerve, which is responsible for the tone of the voice, the facial nerve, which tells you the facial expressions, and the vagal tone are all interconnected and interrelated. Vagus nerve also manages the heart rate variability that decreases stress. It goes through the diaphragm, piercing the diaphragm, and it activates all the single organs of the body, ultimately bringing a sense of homeostasis or healing, manages itself, manages the regulation and decreases inflammation, because during COVID-19, if there is inflammation in any part of the body, it is a different situation where things become very bad. So we have to manage the body inflammation. So the Gandhian way of life literally heals the body by reducing inflammation and restoring homeostasis, which is self-regulation, the dynamic state of non-change in the middle of change. It also increases healing, particularly if one combines it with breathing, focused gaze, awareness, sometimes with the chanting of Ramanama or intonations or chanting of mantra. All these are best practices of body healing, which I have tried and have healed myself. The fourth limb is pranayam, that is regulation of breath to gain neurorespiratory control, neurorespiratory regulation. There are many types of pranayams. Some are invigorating, some are calming, some are cooling, some are for energizing the body. So you can continue doing it for at least 5 hours in the day, 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours in the evening for self-care. Pranayam combined with asanas also regulate the body healing, and it is all going towards healing. Pratyahara, the direct attention to what is happening in our bodies, is the fourth limb. And this is exactly what we need to direct all our senses to understand what is happening in our bodies. And the organs such as heart for regulating the heartbeat, BP, and all the activities of the brain for healing ourselves. The fifth and sixth Ashtanga, the limbs of Ashtanga are Dharana and Dhyan, which is focused awareness and concentration on what is nowadays called as mindfulness. It is also a means of getting in touch with the state of consciousness or soul consciousness of pure knowing and pure experiencing of all possibilities, and infinite correlation with the realm of interdependentness that leads to Samadhi, the eighth limb, that is calmness and transcendental awareness. It is very important for anyone who becomes COVID positive to remain positive, remain calm, and make sure to surrender to the forces and continue to take care of oneself, as I have done. Gandhiji practiced all these, the seventh, sixth, seventh, eighth limbs of yoga through silence, introspection, prayers, deep meditation, and listening to the inner voice. When we combine all the 8 limbs of yoga as a regular practice for the process of self-healing in the Gandhian way, there is no anxiety, no fear of death or the existential crisis in day-to-day life, and especially during the COVID-19 crisis, because when whoever is born has to die, and there is no fear. There should be no fear of death. Gandhiji comes across as the greatest wellness guru, the role model who comes free of cost during these times of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and forever. So I would like to play one dhun, which is Man Vani Karma Se Satya Hi Tu Bol, Jeevan Mein Mangal Ke Dwar De Tu Khol. A very simple way of Gandhian life in Hindi.
ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति का हो सम्यक में
will have to learn to live with COVID-19 now and in the future as well. Instead of reinventing a new lifestyle, we just have to get inspired from the life of Mahatma Gandhi by making necessary changes in thoughts, actions, and conduct. We need to learn from Gandhiji's spiritual lifestyle in these times of COVID-19 pandemic for coping up physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that is the future that the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is pointing out to us if we observe very carefully. Many lessons are very clear, and some are still surrounding us in uncertainty. This uncertainty is causing mental stress, anxiety, existential crisis, fear of extinction and death, and the mass psychology of living in depression and grief is pointing out towards this fact. We are collectively grieving for the loss of our known lifestyle. However, at a deeper level, it is for the well-being of humans to coexist in harmony with Mother Nature, for our mere existence depends on that. By living with the rhythm of the universe and supporting the nature by taking care of all its creations, we have to understand that we really have to live in harmony. There is no alternative to this lifestyle. Amid the shock and panic, the catastrophe of COVID-19 has prompted some radical thinking, and people are trying to rethink. But anyway, here is the lifestyle that I've spoken about, that I have cured myself and healed myself. And for all of us, there is no other way than the standard way of prevention and taking care of oneself and others. Community and mutual support is essential, and so is the happiness and welfare of everyone. We have to say no to injustice, intolerance, violence, war, greed, and the urge to control the common resources of the earth, and must live in peace, brotherhood, interdependence, harmony, compassion, and oneness. Any thought or conduct in the opposite direction, the lust for money, wealth, power, and position, is certain to bring self-annihilation. Global warming has brought in so much changes already, and all the solutions of these problems have to be global only. Waging wars, indulging in hatred, terrorism, greed, capturing, spreading unrest, all are useless because all of us are victims of the same climate threat and same coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. In our civilization, our ancient sages and seers have always looked upon us as Vishwa Manava, global citizens, and we are part of the same family. The world is one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We are all part of the same human family, irrevocably interrelated and interdependent, and have only one home, this planet Earth, or Mother Earth as we call it. If we still return to the normal standard of finding happiness by chasing money, power, position, and wealth through lifelong consumerism, then coronavirus COVID-19 has given us the wake-up call. This kind of lifestyle of empty consumerism and mass distraction has only increased the differences between the rich and poor, created the huge carbon footprint, increased the misery of the invisible poor masses. But now everything has changed. Intolerance, callousness, and indolence will not do any longer. We have to strive for excellence within what is now available to us, because everyone, irrespective of stature, health, age, or wealth, is affected by this pandemic. So I will end Gandhi Katha by Gandhiji's blessings and the Gandhi Katha Dhun for the well-being, safety, and health of all of us. Gandhiji had said that peace is the only positive force which will lead us from darkness towards light. So I once again thank SVCC and the Embassy of India in Seoul and the partners for hosting this Gandhi Katha, this event, which for me is a great occasion to be one with God, to tell the story of Mahatma Gandhi, which makes me feel very happy. So it is again going towards self-healing. So thank you for helping me to heal. And then we will now end with the Dhun, Gandhi Katha Dhun, Shubha Mangal ho, blessing.
Thank you, Shobhna ji. Thank you. That was a terrific lecture, a wonderful narration of Gandhiji's life, his lifestyle, and the bhajans were really mesmerizing. I'm sure the participants who have joined here from Seoul, from India, and from other parts of the world must be really enriched by your story of Gandhiji. And in fact, very beautifully, you have brought about even some of the anecdotes from Gandhiji's life. And in fact, the one important thing which I would like to highlight, which you spoke about, was Ba Bapu, the 150th anniversary of Kasturba Gandhi also, which generally we miss out. So that was really interesting, the Ba Bapu combination that you brought out in your narration. And in fact, the way you narrated your own personal experience of coming out of COVID and how you followed the self-healing and the lifestyle which was given by Gandhiji was really great. And I'm sure the participants who have joined here today in this meeting and also who are following us on Facebook and Twitter, we are live on all social media. So they will certainly get to learn from your own personal experiences. So Shobhna ji, really it has been a great experience for us here at Indian Cultural Center in Seoul to hear you live on this virtual platform. And we are really also grateful to Dr. Ravi Chopra ji for very wonderfully sharing the PowerPoint presentation and also the bhajans. In fact, that added value to the entire story which you narrated. Thank you, Ravi ji, for that. With these words, I would now request all the participants to keep your questions and observations ready. But let me, before inviting other participants, we have a very special guest with us here today. We have the Director of Indian Cultural Center at Maldives, Dr. Syed Tanveer Nasreen with us. Dr. Nasreen? Yeah, hello, welcome Dr. Nasreen. We would like you to speak few words and share your remarks.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, namaskar. And it's always such a pleasure to hear from Dr. Shobhna Radhakrishna ji. Chief Functionary at SCOPE, Gandhian Forum for Ethical Corporate Governance. She's not just an inspiration, and it's always so motivating. Thank you, Dr. Sonu Trivedi, my dear friend, Director, Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, for allowing me to speak, for inviting me to speak. My regards to Her Excellency, Ambassador of India in our country, and other dignitaries. This has been a very, very motivational lecture on the crisis due to COVID-19 pandemic and the need to live in harmony with nature. The basic question, Shobnaji, that you started with, who am I, what am I, and what is the purpose of my life? All of us, most of us, I would say, spend our lives on searching who am I, what am I, and what is the purpose of my life. And thank you so much for showing us the Gandhian way of finding the purposes of our life. Thank you also for, it was wonderful to relate with When I Survey the Wondrous Cross by Isaac Watts, that was written in 1707, and the confluence of the cross, the wondrous cross, with the Ramdhun. I remember you visiting here in March, and the Surah Al-Ikhlas from the Holy Quran that you had cited. I later met, here in Maldives, I later met the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Maldives National University. And she said that I have, in fact, recited it all my life as a part of the religious text, but I had never understood the context that we are actually a global family, and that these are the words that actually rise beyond the confines of a defined institutional religion into a much, much broader humanity. That is the path that Gandhiji had shown us, that path that Gandhiji had shown to the world. And thank you very much for redirecting us to the world, to simplicity, to self-control, the cultural practices and values of yoga and Ayurveda, hygiene and diet, Swadeshi, Seva, Swachhata, and Sarvodaya, the principles of Seva, the Sevagram Ashram, and the management of the Spanish flu that had happened 102 years back in history. We had forgotten it. This was completely almost erased from our public memory. Thank you very much for reviving these memories and the necessity of living a minimalistic life, the simple rules of breathing, the simple rules of a disciplined life, the satyagraha, the constructive activities, and the ekadasha vows. We can make our lives so simple. The complications of our life, in fact, have led to all the chaos that we are presently currently in. The harmony with nature and nature care, Shobnaji, thank you very much for highlighting this. And this is why I always try to attend all your lectures. And thank you very much for being so inspirational and so motivating, for bringing us to that direction of Indian life that says, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, may everyone be happy. And this survey, this everyone, with no qualifications of caste, creed, community, and country of origin. Because we have been taught by our principles, emphasized by Gandhiji, and carried forward by missionaries like you, visionaries like you, of one global family that speaks of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one great family. And this one great family, the world being one great family, is all the more relevant now in the challenging situation of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our culture, our values have taught us to live in harmony with and to uphold the principles of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, may everyone be cured, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, may everyone be witness the blessed, and Ma Kashchit Dukkha Bhaga Bhavet, may no one suffer, may no one have an unpleasant sight. Thank you very much, Dr. Shobna Radhakrishnan-ji. Your life is a great example of being diagnosed COVID positive. I cannot for myself say that if I am diagnosed COVID positive, I can actually remain so positive as you have remained. You have showed each of us a path that way of curing yourself in the Gandhian principles of natural healing. Thank you very much for sharing these experiences, sharing the hope, sharing the values. And thank you very much, my dear friend Sonu Trivedi, for giving me this chance to share my opinions with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Appa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nasreen. It is really always a pleasure to hear from you also. We are colleagues, though very distant apart, but yes, we all belong to the ICCR family.
Yes, connected by
Yeah,
heart.
yeah. And also by ICCR.
Of course.
Yeah.
Namaskar to all of you.
Thank you. We have a question and also observation by one of my former colleague at Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, Dr. Priya Bhalla. Dr. Priya Bhalla.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, please speak.
Yeah, hi Sonu, thanks for organizing this. It was really wonderful to hear such positive thoughts at this present time, at these moments of anxiety and concern that have been awakened, that have been heightened in these in all of us. So it was really peaceful and informative to hear ma'am speaking on all these issues. And I am working on Gandhian issues myself on the economic aspects, but it has been really informative to hear about Gandhi's role in and involvement in the pandemic in the Spanish flu. And so I was just wondering, and I wanted, if you have time, if she could dwell a little on did Gandhi use just the naturopathic technique for treating the patients then, or was it a combination of the modern methods that was used? And even if ma'am could share a little more on how she felt during the COVID pandemic, which she had gone through now, and looking at her, there's been all positivity that can be reflected out of her. So how did she get out of it, and how did she, we could just get some lessons out of it. It would be really good if we could hear more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Shobna ji, if you can please share your experience as has been asked by Dr. Priya.
So during the Spanish pandemic, as I spoke earlier, there was no medicine available. There was no vaccine. There's no antibiotic. It all came later on. So it was only through nature cure that Gandhiji treated everybody. And even during the bubonic plague in 1904, he used only nature cure. So, and that's exactly how he treated others also. And in the ashram, the treatment was through nature cure only in the Sabarmati and Sevagram ashram as well. Although in certain cases, some modern medicines may have been given, but I am not aware of it. In my own case, when I was diagnosed on 22nd June as COVID positive, I had no panic. I just felt that I have to deal with it now in a way that has been taught by Gandhiji, by highlighting the practices and regularly doing it throughout the day, at least for 5 to 6 hours, by paying more attention to the needs that are there for keeping the respiratory tract clean and keeping the mind calm and having nutritious diet. And of course, since there is no antiviral medicine available, for watching out for any inflammatory diseases in the body and controlling it through diet and Ayurvedic kadha. So a lot of things was also due to the influence of my mother, who has brought me up through nature cure, Ayurveda and homeopathy. But unfortunately, she passed away on 28th of June. So this is my first katha without my mother, who was a great pillar of strength for me throughout my life. And that's why I was feeling a bit sad today to do this katha without her. But her spirit lives on in me. And I dedicate this katha to my mother, who has healed me throughout my life through nature cure, Ayurveda and homeopathy. And that was my natural way of feeling myself. So for everybody there, if you are all diagnosed COVID positive, please be positive. Though you will be positive, you'll be tested positive, but mentally you have to be very peaceful, very positive, and treat it as an opportunity to know yourself better, to make sure that you do not give the control to anybody to heal yourself. That control absolutely lies with us only. I hope I have given enough answer.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the information.
Thank you, Shobna ji. In fact, we are extremely sorry to hear about your mother, though we are following you also on Facebook and we were aware, and we truly and fully we share our also deepest condolences, and we share your our feelings with you. We can truly understand how difficult it would have been for you today to have this Gandhi Katha. It's been hardly around 10 to 12 days. And since this was your first Gandhi Katha without the support of your mother, so we can understand the emotional feeling. But many thanks for coming here on this forum immediately after this great loss. Thank you, Shobna ji. We will quickly take up two questions. I see Dr. Hitendra Bargal. He has raised his hand. Dr. Bargal? Dr. Bargal, are you here? Can you unmute and ask your question?
Namaskar, Sonu ji. My question with Dr. Shobna ji, madam. Talking about holy books like Bhagavad Gita, Holy Quran, Holy Bible, and many more holy books say same thing like non-violence and truth about. But we the people are not following this. What are the reason behind this?
One must introspect for the reason. When the essence of religion is the same, to show compassion, forgiveness, and kshama and karuna to everybody, where else is the chance to have differences of opinion? Because everybody is free to choose their path, which only leads to one truth. And if we become tolerant, and if we are able to have a dialogue with each other, which Gandhiji's legacy is also of inter-religious dialogues and interfaith dialogues to resolve conflicts, then we will know that each and everybody who is following different paths to reach the same self-realization is also should read the essence of all the religions to see how every religion teaches the same path of self-realization, but through different modes. So once that realization comes and the realization of oneness also takes place, that we are the members of the same human family. We may look different, we may follow different paths, we may dress differently, but that does not make us at all different. We are but one family of brothers and sisters. So like in the family, we have tolerance for our siblings, for our parents, for our grandparents, great respect for everybody. The same thing has to be followed with the entire globe.
Thank you, Shobna ji.
That is the global family. So that's all. It's very easy.
Thank you, Shobna ji. We will just take one last question, and after that we will wind off. I'm sure you also must be tired. Pinku Jha, Mr. Jha, are you here?
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. Shobna, ma'am. I just want to share something. Like a few months back, before this COVID pandemic, I have been asked from my friend, like, is it possible the Gandhian philosophy is feasible to apply at the global level, the global issues of current era, where the global politics of power and realistic conflictual zone is going more harder and harder. So, is it possible, like the Gandhian practical idealistic idea is can solve the issues of those problems? So just I found later on this COVID pandemic, like how Gandhian philosophy, like you're talking about, is actually dealing is very much possible to use these Gandhian philosophy to apply, and this could be a reason. This could be a solution to solve the this COVID kind of the global issue. So is like the idea of practical idealism of Gandhiji, is that the same thing we are talking about? Like, is that the cure to the global issues, the practical idealistic the vision?
Gandhiji called himself a practical idealist because if he liked something or heard something or read something, he immediately started practicing on it. If we just keep talking and if we just keeping theorizing, keep theorizing and dreaming of controlling the entire world through violence. Look at what has happened to our world today. Where do we stand? Is there any alternative to peace and non-violence? And this was the only man in the last century when the entire world was torn apart by violence, hatred, and intolerance. There were two world wars, the Holocaust and the atomic bombing. Violence was going on one side because of human greed, but Mahatma Gandhi was the only one who stood apart from them, and he was waving the flag of tolerance, peace, and non-violence. Even today, to resolve conflicts, there is only and only the Gandhian way of dialogue to reduce conflicts. And people have to raise up, understand their duties, and see that they take full participation, full responsibility for their actions. And all of us must become, in a way, very alert and vigilant like Gandhiji to injustice. And once we start waking up to our true potentials, then yes, even if we take a very small step, that step will be in a positive direction. And in all the problems that we are facing, if you have read and studied Gandhian philosophy, see where and when his whole idea of truth, non-violence, and purity of means can be applied. And as Gandhian ideology is truth, non-violence, and purity of means. If your goals are pure, your means also have to be pure. If for reaching a goal one uses impure means, the result will be destruction. Because if we are going to go in this path, it will exactly wipe us out. So if we want that the humankind should be wiped out from this universe, the current path that we are following can be followed. But if we want to live in harmony and brotherhood and peace, then we have no option but to reflect on what Gandhiji has demonstrated through his life. The ideals can be the same, but the application of it can change depending on the context. But again, the values, it has to move in the direction of values. So this would be my answer, but I'm also very much keen to hear from the brothers and sisters from South Korea, because now I have seen that only Indians have come up with the questions, and I have gone all over the country, all over the world, and nowhere in the world has anyone spoken about the relevance of Gandhi, because they take it for granted. Gandhi is relevant as an environmentalist. Gandhi is relevant as someone who had inspired so many people to take part in the non-violent movement, and people are already doing that. So people abroad have so much relevance, and after the Salt March, people really became aware of it and changed their lives so much. So I was very happy to see everywhere I have traveled that their respect and relevance for Gandhian lifestyle and Gandhiji, and for minimalistic living, vegetarianism, and all kinds of things that Gandhiji has spoken about is so very high that they really want to change themselves. The first step is to change oneself and start acting and behaving and basing our conduct on the Gandhian way of life. First, we need to change, then we can change the world. So thank you so much. Now I'm tired. I will not be able to take any more questions. It's been a long session, and I hope it has been useful, because to me, it is like a satsang. I always benefit spiritually. It's a spiritual progress for me to talk about Gandhiji. But if you have gained anything from it, you are bound to benefit from it. I thank you all very much for your kind presence, for your absolute the gift of time, which is the only non-renewable gift that you have, resource that all of us have. So I thank you very much for your kind gift of time. And I am very happy today for having done this Gandhi Katha, which has really, really healed me so much today. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Shobna ji. It was really enriching to hear from you, your experience, and also about the story of Gandhiji. Let us now wrap up the discussion and give a great round of applause to our most valued speaker, Dr. Shobhana Radhakrishna, all dignitaries, invited guests, and all the live participants here in this meeting, as well as on our social media handles. Of course, also to the support provided by the team of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center and Embassy of India, Seoul, along with the support provided by Asia Culture Institute, ACC at Guangzhou. To our participants, my common message, which I give every time, stay tuned to our social media handles for more updates about our upcoming events, and do write to us to keep us updated about any new ideas and suggestions for deepening the cultural cooperation and people-to-people ties between the two countries of India and Republic of Korea. Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, sir.